Hey everyone, in today's lesson we're going to be looking at mass in the imperial system. So before we get going, what I recommend is you grab out your bright orange sheet with all the different formulas on it so that you can use that as your reference when we're going along in these examples here. Now, there are quite a few different examples, so what I'm going to be doing for this lesson is going through some of them and then having you complete the other ones on your own. Most importantly, though, is once you've completed these, please make sure you are going and checking the class OneNote to make sure that you've done these correctly. So, to start off, mass is the measure of the quantity of matter in an object. So measuring weight and mass are necessary tasks for many trades. For example, crane and hoist operators weigh materials to determine whether it can be lifted safely, and they often use the imperial measures. Starting us off, we have 1 ton, so Tn equals 2,000 pounds. We also have 16 ounces equals 1 pound, and you have your LB there. So this is just to start us off, but we also have this on our formula sheet, so you can follow along with that as well. Just for a point of reference, a football weighs approximately 1 pound, and a slice of bread weighs about 1 ounce. So so you have a point of reference when you're going through this and you're trying to figure out, okay, how much would that really weigh? Well, you can think about those references just so you can connect the dots. Now, to start us off, what we're going to be looking at is 165 ounces, and we want to convert this into pounds. Well, the first thing that you'd look for is the conversion between ounces and pounds. Well, if you look at your formula sheet or your conversion sheet, you're going to find that 1 pound equals 16 ounces. Now, this is an LB on top. I'm not always going to write this just because I don't want you to confuse it as a 16. It's an LB. So 1 pound equals 16 ounces. I'm just going to leave the OZ there just so that you know the ounces are in the bottom. Equals. Now we have ounces. We have 165 ounces and we want to convert that into pounds. So if we want to find pounds, which is on top, that's where X goes. And then our 165 is going on the bottom. Now what we've set up is our cross multiplication, and we have 16 multiplied by x, which is 16x, is equal to 1 multiplied by 165. Now, we want to have x by itself, so we have to isolate it by dividing by 16 and dividing by 16. So what this is going to get us is this canceling off here, and x equals 165 divided by 16, which gives me 10.3125. Now, when we're writing this out, I'm only going to ask you to go to 2 decimal places. So your answer that you'd write down would be 10.31, and we have the pounds already written down for you. The next one, we have 3.75 pounds equals how many ounces? So what we want to look at doing is, well, having our conversion for pounds, so 1 LB over 16 ounces. Now again, don't forget that confuse that LB for a 16. It's the 1 LB over 16 ounces is equal to, and then we have our pounds and we want to find our ounces. So our X is going to go on the bottom and our 3.75 is going to go on the top. Now I'm going to leave this for you here, and I want you to complete this part and find out how many ounces you have. But we've done the setup for you. For C, we have 12 pounds, 4 ounces, and we want to figure out how many ounces in total. Well, the nice part is we have this 4 ounces here. We don't need to change that. So what we need to find out though is how many ounces is our 12 pounds. Whatever that is, it's going to be plus our 4 to figure out how many total ounces we have. Well, following the steps of 1 pound equals 16 ounces, you have 12 pounds, so 12 goes on top, and x goes on the bottom. We have our cross multiplication, which gets us 1x, or just x, equals 16 multiplied by 12, which is 192. So we have to do 192 plus 4, which will get us 196 ounces in total. So our 12 pounds, 4 ounces is 196 ounces in total. For D, you have 2.3 tons, and you want to find the number of pounds. I'm going to leave this one for you to figure out on your own. The hint would be to look back up at your top at these values here, and this is the conversions that you could use to figure out your tons to your pounds. Remember that this pounds would be LB. Now for E, we have 5,284 pounds, and we want to figure out how many tons, and we want our tons to be a whole number, meaning that we won't have any decimals. Whatever that decimal is going to turn back into our pounds. So the first thing we want to think about is how many pounds are in 1 ton? Well, 1 ton, so 1 TN equals 2,000 pounds. Now, if we know 1 ton is 2,000 pounds, well, 2 tons is equal to 4,000 pounds, and 3 tons would be equal to 6,000 pounds. We don't have more than 6,000 pounds, so what we want to use is this value right here. So what we can figure out is we're going to have 2 tons, and to figure out how many pounds we have left over, we would simply do 5,284 subtract 4,000, and that would tell us that we still have 1,284 pounds. So we have 2 tons, 1,284 pounds. And that would finish off the answer for that question. Now we have some word problems. In this problem, Manuela needs 1 pound and 2 ounces of Gruyere cheese, 12 ounces of cheddar cheese, and 11 ounces of Swiss cheese for a fondue recipe. How many pounds of cheese does she need in all? Well, the first thing we need to think about is, what do we have as our values? We have 1 pound, 2 ounces of Gruyere, 12 ounces of cheddar, and 11 ounces of Swiss. So what we can do first is get our total by adding these all together. 1 pound, so LB, I'm going to put this in brackets, and then 2 ounces. Then we have 12 ounces, and we have 11 ounces. So we want to get our total, which is going to be 1 pound, and 2 plus 12 plus 11 makes 25 ounces. So we have 1 pound, 25 ounces of cheese. We want to figure out how many pounds of cheese does she have, meaning that we now need to convert this part into pounds. Well, what you're going to do first is look up on your conversion sheet, what is the conversion from ounces to pounds? And we did use it on the previous page, so we know that 1 pound, so LB, equals 16 ounces. And that's our conversion, so we want to then set up our cross multiplication. And we have ounces, so that means our X is going on top, and our 25 is going on the bottom. To set up our cross multiplication, and we'll find that 16 times X is 16X is equal to 1 times 25, which is 25. And then we have to get X by itself, so divide by 16. Divide by 16, it cancels off there. So you have 25 divided by 16. So your answer for X is going to be 1.5625. Now, we're not done here because we have to add this on to our original 1 pound. So our total equals 1 plus our 1.56, and I'll just make you go to 2 decimal places. So what we're going to end up with is 2.56 pounds. And that'll be your final answer. For example 3, the cab of Arthur's semi-trailer truck weighs 8.7 tons, and the trailer weighs 6.4 tons. If the loaded gross weight of the truck is 21.3 tons, what is the weight of the load inside? Well, first off, we have the truck that weighs 8.7 tons and the trailer that weighs 6.4 tons. Now, when they weighed it at a weigh scale, they're gonna find out that they have 21.3 tons in total. So we want to figure out what is the weight of the load that is inside of the truck. Well, the way that we can figure this out is if our total is 21.3 tons, all we have to do is subtract the weight of the truck and the weight of the trailer to figure out what the total load's weight is. So we have 21.3 tons, subtract 8.7 tons, subtract 6.4 tons, and if we subtract this all from 21.3, we'll find the weight inside the trailer is 6.2 tons. Now, the next part says to convert this into pounds. We know from the previous page that 1 ton is equal to 2,000 pounds. So we've set up our conversion and we can now figure out, well, if we have 6.2 tons, we want to find out how many pounds. Our X goes on the bottom, and we do our cross multiplication. So this gives us 1 multiplied by X, which gives us just X, and 2,000 multiplied by 6.2, which will give us 12,400 pounds. And that would be our final answer. Now, there's example 4 and example 5. Both of these have to do with finding out how much it costs per a set amount of well, I guess per unit. So we want to figure out in ounces or in pounds, which one is going to be the better price? Well, for us, if we have one in ounces and one in pounds and ounces, it makes the most sense for us to convert everything into ounces because we don't have to change this first one. So we just have to worry about this second one right now. So to start off, we'll go through the question. A 12-ounce can of vegetables costs $1.49. A 1-pound 2-ounce can of the same vegetables costs $2.19. And we want to figure out which is the better buy. Well, if we have to get this all into ounces, we have to convert our 1 pound into ounces. Well, if we have 1 pound is equal to 16 ounces, what we can do then is do 16 plus our 2 ounces equals 18 ounces in total. So we have here 12 ounces for $1.49, and this one's going to be 18 ounces for $2.19. Now, in order to figure out what our unit price is, we're going to take the cost, which is, for the first one, $1.49, and then divide it by the amount that we have. So divide it by 12. So if we do 1.49 divided by 12, we find out our unit price is $0.12. Now, I'm going to go a little bit further just because it is going to be very close in comparison. So we're going to go to 0.124, even though that wouldn't be how it would be shown at the store. And that's going to be per ounces. Now, the next one we'd look at, well, we have $2.19 divided by our 18 ounces. And if we do $2.19 divided by 18, we're going to get a value of 0.122, and this is per ounce. Now, you can see why we went to the third decimal place here, because it went to a very precise number. So it's very close in comparison, but this is showing that this one here, so our larger can, which we're paying $2.19 for, is going to be the better deal. Example 5, Valerie bought 4 pounds 6 ounces of steak for dinner at $2.74 per pound. After removing the excess fat, she had only 4 pounds of meat left. What is her true cost per pound? Now, I'm going to leave this one for you to solve on your own, but I want to give you a couple steps on how to do this properly. Now, the first thing is, if you're paying per pound, you need to turn this 6 ounces into pounds and then add it on to that 4 pounds that went along with it to figure out what your total weight is in pounds when you start out. Then you're going to have to multiply it by that $2.74 to figure out what your total cost is. And then the last thing is you're going to divide it by how much you actually have in weight after you trimmed it. So the first thing is you're taking your ounces and converting it into pounds and adding it on to your 4 pounds. Then the second thing is you're taking that amount and multiplying it by your cost of $2.74 per pound. The last thing that you need to do is then divide it by your 4 pounds of meat, and that'll tell you what your true cost is. If you follow these steps, you'll get your final answer. Now, make sure once you got your final answer, you go and check the class OneNote to make sure that you've done it correctly. Other than that, if you have any questions, please make sure that you send me a message in Teams and we can go over the problems together.